All right, simply put, this is probably going to be one of the best-selling cameras that I've seen in a long time. This is going to go through the roof. People are going to be buying them like crazy. It's incredible I even have my hands on one because they're sold out basically everywhere. You're looking at the new Rebel T2i, or the 550D as it's called in Europe and Asia. This is the new entry-level replacement for the T1i, and it's absolutely incredible. This is a fantastic camera for the money, and if you're even considering buying a DSLR in the low-end range, this is pretty much the only one you should be considering. It's very, very affordable and has some incredible features that have trickled down from the 7D, which is a much, much more expensive camera. It's actually $1,000 more expensive, more than double the cost of this to get to a 7D, but this actually has a very similar sensor and very similar features, especially as far as video is concerned, because this does do full manual control 1080p video with the selectable frame rates. Just like the 7D, it'll let you do 24, 25, 30. It'll also do 720p. It'll do 50 and 60 frames per second, so you can do slow-mo. This is going to be a very, very popular camera. Now, it's still an APS-C size sensor, so it does have a 1.6x crop factor, but it's basically an 18 megapixel sensor, just like the one from the 7D, so it's going to have a very, very nice image quality, especially for video. Now, as far as photography goes, it's almost just as good as far as the sensor goes. The only difference with the camera for photography would be basically the autofocus system is completely different. It's a 9-point autofocus system with a single cross type in the middle for lenses that are f2.8 or faster. Now, compared to the 7D, that's got a 19-point autofocus system with all of the sensors being the cross type. So that's still pretty good, though, a 9-point. Now, what's going to be the difference between that and the 7D is basically going to mean that this is a camera to take a picture of a friend or of something. If you're a professional and you're doing, football, stuff that's moving very quickly where you're trying to capture autofocus, your autofocus needs to be very fast in servo mode, this camera is not going to be that great for that. But that means that for 99.9% of the people out there who are not pros that just want a beautiful camera, they want to expand their creativity, they want to take pictures of their family or on a vacation, there is nothing better than this. This is absolutely incredible as far as everything. Now, it comes in either just the body alone, or you can get it with the kit lens. The kit lens is an 18 to 55 millimeter 3.5. It's actually a pretty nice lens, and it has optical stabilization, which is really cool for beginners. It's kind of hard to hold the camera steady. Not everyone has a tripod. Basically, the stabilization kind of shifts the lens elements so that they're always lined up perfectly. So that gives you about a stop, sometimes 2 stops of extra hold. So if you're at a 30th of a second and you're moving your hand and it comes out kind of blurry, if you turn on the image stabilization, it might make the picture come out perfectly sharp. And that's really, really good in low light, which is very nice. Now, low light is another thing that this camera exceeds in. It's got an ISO rating of 6400, which is very high. That's actually expandable to 12,800. Which is probably not something that you'd want to shoot video in because it will come out a little bit noisy, but it is still plenty good. And if you want to capture a shot that's in basically pure darkness, you basically could, no problem, with that very, very high ISO sensor. Now, as far as continuous shooting, 3.7 frames per second, so it's definitely not 9 frames per second like the Canon 7D, but it's not meant for that type of photography. It's meant for portraits, taking pictures of your friends and your family. It's not meant to catch a race car, passing you at 100 miles an hour. Again, full manual control for the video. You can adjust the f-stop, the aperture, and the ISO, and the shutter speed. Fully manual whenever you want. You can do that. It has highlight tone priority, just like the 7D does, which is really, really cool. Something that it does even better than the 7D, which is actually really impressive, is the display. Now take a look at that display. It is extremely high resolution. It's actually got 1.04 million pixels on this screen. So the 7D is somewhere in the 900,000 range. This is a slightly higher resolution. It's 3 inches across, in case you're curious about that. Has a 160-degree viewing angle, and so it's actually a better screen than the 7D, which is really nice. Also, something that's different and new is the media that it collects to. This is actually SD memory that it goes to. So rather than having a CF card, you have SD. That's good because every laptop has an SD card reader and none have a CF card reader, so that makes it convenient. It's also compatible with the SDXC type of memory, which is the new ones. Those go up to 2 terabytes of storage space. Theoretically, they're not out yet at that capacity, but that is the theoretical capacity of that system. Also supports the iFi cards, which is really cool. If you don't know what those are, those let you kind of send out the pictures you take or the video over Wi-Fi. I'm not 100% sure if it does the video just yet, but I do know that it will automatically link up to a hotspot, a Wi-Fi hotspot, and send out your pictures while you're taking them without having to take it out of the card. Now, another cool feature that they took from the 7D is that this thing does have the same metering system. So basically, it has an IFCL metering system from the 7D. It's a 63-zone dual-layer metering sensor that's built in here. So it's very, very good as far as getting the proper exposure. It's basically the exact same system from the 7D. Also, the same from the 7D is the Digic 4 image processor, which is built in here. It doesn't have two of them, but it has one. That means it can do all the videos, and it can do, I think, something around the area of probably like 15 RAWs in continuous shooting, 3.7 frames per second before the buffer fills. So that means that it's very fast. I mean, if you do want to do the 1080p video, the processor in here can handle it. All right, now let's go on a quick little tour of the T2i. I'm going to start you off on the front. Basically over here, this is going to flip up your manual flash. This is the latch for your lens. Now let's take a quick tour of the T2i. I want to show you where everything is. Starting off over here, this is the manual release for the flash. If you want to turn your flash, that's how you're going to do it. Here is the release for your lens. So when you want to exchange lenses, you're going to push that button. Down here, you do have a depth of field preview button. Also over here on this side, very important, lots of cool stuff over here. Just like the 7D, you do have a stereo mic input right there. You also have the remote control right there for the intervalometer. You can also have an AV out, which is really cool because in the box they provide you with composite USB to composite AV out. You also have the mini HDMI out, which is cool if you want to monitor this on a separate monitor, if you want to show people and family members pictures. That's also useful for that as well. Now on the back, basically you have your menu button, which is going to bring up your menu. Display is going to go through the info settings. If you are, let's say, in video mode, and well, there's no lens on here, I can't show you, but if you hit display, it's going to give you grid lines or show you different types of information that you may or may not want to see on the screen. So that's how you control that. Over here, this is the dedicated video button. So basically, if you turn that on and off, that's going to bring you into video mode. You also have your exposure compensation as well as your AV. Now, it's interesting to note that when you want to change the shutter speed or the f-stop, the shutter speed is controlled with this up here. If you want to change the f-stop, you have to hold this button and then use up here the slider at the top. And I can't actually do it because there's no lens on here, but that's basically that. The Q button, which if you've never seen is a very nice little button. It basically lets you go onto the back screen and change anything. Really simple. So if you can't figure out how to get to a setting or how to change something, you can change just about anything by using the Q button. Really popular feature on Canon cameras. Autofocus settings are here, white balance settings are here, timer and shutter release are here. So if you want to go high speed continuous or high speed slow or use the timer, use that's right there. These are your picture styles. Of course, just like all the other Canon cameras, standard, vivid, neutral, whatever, etc., portrait. This is your play button, so this will bring back the images on the display. And then this is the delete button. This is going to allow you to zoom in on your photos if you're looking at them, or if you're in video mode to have a kind of like a focus assist zoom. It also lets you shift between the different types of autofocuses. So basically, if you want to have center point or point expansion, this is the button you're going to be pushing to go through all of those. On the top here, a couple of things going on. First of all, right over here, you do have a hot shoe. For a flash, you also have over here a diopter adjustment knob, so if you want to adjust that in case your vision's different from someone else's, you have that there. Over here is the all-in-one knob. Basically, lets you change between all of your settings, like all the way over here. That's video. If you're in video mode and you push that button, it gets you into video mode. If you're in manual and you push that button, it gets you into live view mode. So that's basically how that works. You have a bunch of presets. Again, most people, professionals, don't use these, so I could barely tell you what they're for, but they're preset. They change the picture styles, the aperture. They change everything kind of to a preset. So portrait might switch it, the picture style to portrait. It might take like an F7 or F8, where landscape might take a longer exposure because it thinks you're on a tripod. I'm not sure how they all work because I don't use them, but that is there. This is the fully automatic mode, so when you just get the camera, you don't know what to do with it. That's where you're going to stick it if you don't know what you're doing, but you should not try to stay out of that because it's fully automatic. You want the picture to come out like you tell it to. This is the creative automatic, lets you do a few things. Program, shutter and aperture priority, and then manual. And then that's your aperture dependent custom setting there. ISO adjust button is right here. Basically, just you want to adjust your ISO, you're going to hold that button, flip right here. Shutter release. On the bottom, you do have a tripod mount screw aligned right with the center line of the lens. and then right over here is where that new battery goes right in there. Another new feature for Rebels, really cool. Rebels before, they had exposure compensation, but very little, and also they didn't have bracketing. So this camera actually lets you bracket, which is really cool. So basically what that means, let's see if I can show you here. See if we can zoom in here and actually show you. Where is it? Here we go. You're going to click here, and there is your bracketing. So if I turn this wheel, it's going to go one stop below, right in the middle, and then one stop above. It's going to take 3 photos, and you can go even higher and higher and higher, up to 3 stops, I believe, or 2 stops is the maximum. And basically what that does is it means if you're not sure if you're going to get the picture at this exposure, well, it's going to take 1 below and 1 above. So one of those pictures is definitely going to come out. That also gives you the ability to do an HDR of that photo very, very easily. That's a nice little feature. Now also, in case you're curious, this camera does work with all the Canon lenses. So the EF and the EFS series are all going to work on this lens. If you want to buy just the body, spend some more money on some nicer lenses besides the kit lens, get some primes or whatever, you can do that. It also supports the infrared remote trigger. It's called the RC6. All the EX series speedlights, the 580EX2, the 430, the 270EX, it supports all of those flashes. What else does it support? Oh, and there's a new battery. Let me show you the new battery. It's not like the one from the 5D Mark II or the 7D. Here it is. It's the LPE8. That is the new battery. It's a 1250 milliampere hour battery, so that's pretty cool. And that's basically it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can tell you about this incredible camera. Oh, 95% viewfinder, so it's almost 100%. That's pretty good. And that's basically it. This is an incredible camera. This camera is going to sell like crazy. Everyone wants one. If you want to do video, this is basically the same as the 7D. You're going to get the same type of quality from the video. It's going to look just as good, but more than half off, a lot cheaper. You can save some money, get some better lenses, and do the same amount of video. For photography, it's going to be almost as good for most people. It's going to be a little bit slower for the really fast stuff. It's not going to be as great with the autofocus, but I mean, you're saving $1,000. The price point is incredible, and for the money, nothing is going to beat the Rebel T2i. So love this camera. 2 thumbs up, big time. If you have any questions on it, feel free to email me. I'll see you guys next time. For more information on the Canon EOS Rebel T2i digital SLR camera, type in C930-1748 into any major search engine.